void between stars had never known such fear. To speak the name Nemesis was to invite dread into one's heart. Most species in the concordat of allied worlds preferred euphemisms: the Shadow, the Leviathan, or simply, that human ship. But official naval records used its proper designation: UGFS Nemesis, United Galactic Fleet Ship, Sovereign-class dreadnought. Commander Vrelix Cothran stood on the bridge of his Athraxi cruiser, the Relentless Virtue, staring at the tactical display, with compound eyes that refused to blink. The human vessel had appeared at the edge of the Carillion system just moments ago, a massive silhouette against the backdrop of stars. "Confirm identity," Cothran ordered, his mandibles clicking with barely contained anxiety. His tactical officer, Missoura, worked frantically at her console. "Energy signature matches UGFS Nemesis with 99.8% certainty, Commander." A collective silence fell across the bridge. The Nemesis had arrived. The most feared warship in human history had entered their system. "They're hailing us," Communications Officer Peltrix announced, his voice barely audible. "On screen," Cothran replied, straightening his posture. He would face this with dignity. The view screen illuminated to reveal a human woman with distinctive auburn hair cropped short around a face marked by a jagged scar running from temple to jaw. Her eyes were the color of Eridani ice caps, pale blue and utterly devoid of mercy. "This is Admiral Elira Desai of the UGFS Nemesis to Athraxi forces in the Carillion system. You have illegally occupied a neutral world protected under Concordat. Treaty 449B, you will withdraw immediately or face consequences. No threats, no elaborate warnings, just a simple statement of fact delivered with the calm certainty of someone who had never known defeat." Cothran felt his secondary heart begin to race. "Admiral Desai, our presence here is sanctioned by the Athraxi hegemony. We claim historical rights to—" "You have 1 standard hour to begin withdrawal procedures," Desai interrupted. "Nemesis out." The screen went dark, leaving Cothran staring at his own reflection. "Commander?" Missoura spoke hesitantly. "Should we contact the hegemony for instructions?" Cothran's mind raced through the stories: the annihilation of the Vorlock fleet at Tau Ceti, the surgical precision strike at Kazad Prime, where the Nemesis had destroyed an entire defense network without a single civilian casualty, the legendary Battle of Proxima, where Admiral Desai had outmaneuvered 5 Juxtar dreadnoughts. "How many ships do we have in system?" he asked. 4 cruisers, including our own, 7 destroyers, and 15 support vessels, his XO, Lathric, reported. It should have been enough to rebuff any single enemy vessel, even a human dreadnought. But this wasn't just any dreadnought. This was the Nemesis. "Orders, Commander?" Lathric pressed. Cothran studied the tactical display. His ships surrounded the small habitable moon they had claimed 3 cycles ago. The natives, primitive beings with barely spacefaring capability, had appealed to Earth for protection. He had dismissed their pleas as inconsequential. Now the Nemesis hung in space like a sword of judgment. "Commander, we significantly outnumber them," Missoura reminded him. "Our combined firepower is irrelevant," Cothran interrupted. "Begin withdrawal procedures immediately." "Without a fight?" Lathric's mandibles clicked in shock. "The hegemony will—" "The hegemony isn't here," Cothran said firmly. "I am, and I intend to keep this fleet intact. Send the withdrawal order to all ships." As his crew reluctantly carried out his commands, Cothran gazed at the distant silhouette of the Nemesis, wondering what terrible weapons lurked behind its deceptively smooth hull plating and what terrible resolve guided its legendary commander. Admiral Elira Desai had not always been a legend. Once, she had been merely Lieutenant Desai, tactical officer aboard the UGF frigate Intrepid during humanity's first interstellar war against the Krex Imperium. "They're retreating," announced Tactical Officer Ravinder Malhotra, his fingers dancing, across the holographic display. All Athraxi vessels are powering down weapon systems and assuming withdrawal formation. Desai nodded, her scarred face impassive. Monitor them until they've cleared the system. Commander Octavia Reeve, Desai's XO for the past 7 years, approached the Admiral's command chair. "Another bloodless victory for the Nemesis," she remarked quietly. "The best kind," Desai replied, her voice carrying the weight of too many battles and too many losses. The bridge of the Nemesis hummed with quiet efficiency. Unlike the ostentatious command centers of other species, human military vessels favored functional minimalism. No unnecessary ornamentation, no displays of wealth or status, just the tools needed to project power across the stars with terrifying precision. "Admiral," communications specialist Karim Nazari called from his station. "We're receiving a transmission from the surface. The Carillion Representative Council wishes to express their gratitude." "Put them through," Desai ordered, rising from her chair. The main view screen shifted to show a group of Carillions, vaguely reptilian beings with iridescent scales and large, expressive eyes. Their spokesperson, an elder with jade-colored scales, bowed deeply. "Admiral Desai, our people thank you for honoring the treaty. The Athraxi would have stripped our world of resources and left us destitute." Desai inclined her head. "The United Galactic Federation honors its commitments. Representative Voxil, we will maintain a presence in your system until we're confident the Athraxi won't return." After the communication ended, Desai turned to her XO. "Have Lieutenant Farouk prepare a diplomatic team to meet with the Carillion Council. Standard cultural exchange protocols." "Yes, Admiral," Reeve acknowledged. She hesitated before adding, "Permission to speak freely?" Desai raised an eyebrow. "Always. The reputation of this ship saved lives today. Both sides." Desai's expression darkened momentarily as memories flickered behind her pale eyes. "A reputation built on blood and sacrifice, Octavia. Never forget that." She walked to the tactical station, studying the retreating Athraxi ships. "Our reputation is a weapon, perhaps our most powerful one. But it was purchased at tremendous cost. Few people in the galaxy knew the full story behind the Nemesis and its captain. How a brilliant tactical officer named Elira Desai had survived the massacre at Hyperion Gate when the rest of her ship's crew had perished. How she had been rescued, half dead, by Admiral Kaito Nakamura, who recognized in her a strategic mind unparalleled in the fleet. When Earth designed its new Sovereign-class dreadnoughts, ships meant to project human power across contested space, Nakamura had insisted that the first vessel be given to the newly promoted Captain Desai. "The galaxy is changing," Desai told her XO as they watched the Athraxi retreat. "For centuries, dozens of species have fought over scraps of territory, resources, prestige. Humanity arrived late to this game." "And changed the rules," Reeve added. Desai nodded. "We didn't have the numbers to match the older species, so we built better ships, developed better tactics, and when necessary, we made examples." The unspoken history hung between them. The early battles where the Nemesis had earned its fearsome reputation through blood and fire. The precision strikes, the impossible victories, the technological innovations that had made a single human vessel more formidable than entire alien fleets. "Set course for Patrol Pattern Delta," Desai ordered. "I want to make sure our Athraxi friends don't have second thoughts once they reach the jump point." As the massive ship altered course, its silhouette cutting across the stars, Desai allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. The legend of the Nemesis served humanity well, but she alone carried the weight of the actions that had forged that legend, and the price had been steep indeed. The Athraxi retreat had proceeded without incident, yet Admiral Desai remained vigilant. 20 years of naval service had taught her that apparent victories often concealed unexpected dangers. "Admiral," Commander Reeve approached with a data tablet, "we've received a priority communication from Fleet Command. Admiral Nakamura requests immediate contact. Desai nodded. I'll take it in my ready room. The small chamber adjacent to the bridge served as Desai's private office and sanctuary. Unlike the sterile functionality of the rest of the ship, here she permitted herself small comforts. A shelf of physical books, a small terrarium containing plants from Earth, and a single photograph of her former crew aboard the Intrepid. The communication screen flickered to life, revealing the weathered face of Admiral Kaito Nakamura. Though approaching his 9th decade, his mind remained as sharp as his gaze. Elira, he greeted her with unusual informality. Congratulations on resolving the Carillion situation without bloodshed. The Athraxi commander made the sensible choice, she replied. What's happened? Nakamura's expression grew grave. We've received intelligence from deep cover assets in Vulgari space. Their high command has authorized Operation Sundering. Desai's blood ran cold. They're actually going forward with it? Yes. And worse, they've formed an alliance with the Zorathi Collective and the Peronian Dominion. 3 species, united against humanity for the first time. Desai processed this information with practiced calm, though her mind raced through the strategic implications. The Vulgari were known for their technological prowess, the Zorathi for their vast numbers, and the Pyronians for their ruthless efficiency. This changes the strategic landscape completely, she said. 3 major powers working in concert could overwhelm our defensive perimeter, even with the concordant treaties. Nakamura nodded grimly. Which is why I'm redirecting the Nemesis to the Arcturus Gateway. Intelligence suggests they'll strike there first, a symbolic target, the site of humanity's first extrasolar colony. The Nemesis alone won't be enough if they bring their combined fleets, Desai cautioned. You won't be alone. I'm assembling Task Force Aegis, 12 ships including 2 other Sovereign-class dreadnoughts. But you'll be the tip of the spear, Elira. Your reputation precedes you. Even now, there are species who fear the Nemesis more than they fear our entire fleet. Desai's expression hardened. A reputation built on Tau Ceti, Khazad Prime, and Proxima. On the bodies of those who underestimated us. And one we desperately need now, Nakamura replied. The Alliance believes they have the advantage of surprise. They don't know we've uncovered their plans. After the communication ended, Desai returned to the bridge. The crew sensed the shift in her demeanor immediately, the subtle tightening of her posture, the cold focus in her eyes. Plot a course for the Arcturus Gateway, she ordered. Maximum sustainable speed. Arcturus? Commander Reeve questioned. What about the Carillion situation? The diplomatic team will remain behind with the frigate Vigilant. We have more pressing concerns. Desai turned to her tactical officer. Lieutenant Malhotra, I want a complete weapons inventory and readiness report within the hour. Drill all combat teams. As the crew sprang into action, Desai called up the historical archives on her personal console. The Battle of Proxima had been her defining moment, the engagement that had transformed the Nemesis from merely a powerful warship into a legend that inspired dread throughout the galaxy. The images flickered before her, the 5 Juxtar dreadnoughts, closing in, confident in their superior numbers, the innovative maneuver that had allowed the Nemesis to target all 5 simultaneously, the revolutionary quantum torpedo technology deployed in combat for the first time. What the historical records didn't show was the weight of that decision, the sleepless nights that followed, the responsibility of wielding such devastating power. We'll reach Arcturus in 72 hours, Admiral, Navigator Zola Okafor reported. Acknowledged. Desai closed the historical files and straightened her uniform. The enemy alliance will have numbers on their side. We will have audacity and innovation, and they will expect us to fight conventionally. And we won't? Asked Commander Reeve. Admiral Desai allowed herself a grim smile. The Nemesis didn't earn its reputation by fighting conventionally, Commander. They expect the legend. We'll give them something new to fear. The Arcturus Gateway, humanity's first foothold among the stars, had transformed over the decades from a fragile outpost into a bustling hub of commerce and military power. Its strategic importance was rivaled only by its symbolic value, the first place where humans had planted their flag beyond Sol. Now it faced unprecedented danger. Task Force Aegis assembled in high orbit around Arcturus Prime. 12 of humanity's finest warships arranged in a defensive formation with the Nemesis at its heart. From her command chair, Admiral Desai surveyed the tactical display with critical eyes. "Status report?" she demanded. Commander Reeves stepped forward. "All ships report combat readiness. The Indomitable and Resolute have taken position at these coordinates." She indicated the two other Sovereign-class dreadnoughts flanking the formation. "Planetary defense grid is at maximum capacity. Civilian evacuation is 83% complete." Desai nodded. "And our special preparations?" "Complete, Admiral. Project Phantom is operational." The bridge fell silent. Project Phantom, the classified technology that Desai herself had helped develop, remained unknown to most of the crew. Only her senior officers understood what it might mean for the coming battle. Admiral, Communications Specialist Nazari called out, "Incoming transmission from the Bulgari flagship. They're requesting parley." Desai's eyes narrowed. On screen. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Grand Marshal Kivox, Supreme Commander of the Bulgari forces. His metallic exoskeleton gleamed under the lights of his command center, and his 4 eyes fixed on Desai with calculating intensity. "Admiral Desai," he began, his translator conveying his deep, resonant voice. "Your presence here is expected. The legendary commander of the Nemesis could not resist defending such a symbolic target. You've massed your fleet at the edge of sovereign human space, Marshal Kivox," Desai replied coldly. "State your purpose." "Clarity. Resolution. Progress." Kivox's mandibles clicked with what passed for amusement among his kind. "For too long, humanity has disrupted the natural order of galactic politics. Your species arrived only recently, yet demands equal standing with civilizations that have navigated the stars for millennia." "We earned our place," Desai countered. "Through technological theft and military intimidation," Kivox retorted. "Your famous vessel, this Nemesis, has upset delicate balances that existed long before humans gazed skyward. Today, that ends. Behind." Kivox, the tactical display revealed the true scale of the threat. Over 70 warships from 3 different species, arranged in attack formation. The combined might of 3 galactic powers, united against humanity. "You misunderstand our intentions." "Marshal," Desai said, her voice steady, "we sought neither conquest nor domination, only cooperation and mutual respect." "Your definition of respect requires others to bend to human will," Kivox replied. "Our alliance will no longer tolerate this. Surrender Arcturus Gateway and withdraw your forces beyond the Perseus Arm. This is your only warning." After the transmission ended, the bridge of the Nemesis remained silent. All eyes turned to Admiral Desai. "They've assembled an overwhelming force," Commander Reeve observed quietly. "Nearly 6-to-1 odds." "Numbers aren't everything," Desai replied, rising from her chair. "Zola, signal all ships. Combat Formation Theta. Lieutenant Malhotra, arm. All weapon systems but maintain defensive posture. Let them make the first move." As the massive fleet of enemy vessels began to advance, Desai activated a secure channel to the captains of Task Force Aegis. "This is Admiral Desai. You all know what we face today. You know the odds. What you may not know is that our enemy expects us to fight conventionally, to rely on our technological edge and tactical superiority. She paused, watching as the enemy formation spread out, preparing to encircle the human defenders. They believe they know what the Nemesis is capable of. They've studied our past engagements, analyzed our victories. They think they're prepared. A cold smile touched her lips. They are not. Execute Operation Phantom on my mark. Throughout the task force, captains acknowledged the order. The trap was set. Beyond the view screen, the combined alien fleet moved into attack position, their weapons powering up in a synchronized display of overwhelming force. The battle for Arcturus. Gateway was about to begin. The enemy's first salvo illuminated the void, hundreds of energy beams and projectiles converging on the human formation. For a moment, it seemed as though Task Force Aegis would be overwhelmed in the opening seconds of battle. Phantom protocols, execute now, Admiral Desai commanded, her voice cutting through the tension on the bridge. Throughout the task force, quantum field generators activated simultaneously. The fabric of space-time shimmered around the human vessels. And suddenly, where 12 ships had been, there appeared to be hundreds, perfect holographic duplicates, indistinguishable from the real vessels, scattered throughout the battlefield. Each projected realistic energy signatures, weapons emissions, and communication patterns. The enemy fleet faltered in confusion as their targeting systems tried to distinguish real threats from phantoms. First phase successful, Commander Reeve reported. Enemy formations breaking down. Desai nodded grimly. And now we show them why the Nemesis is feared. All ships execute attack pattern Lambda. Target command vessels only. The real human ships, concealed among their phantom duplicates, moved with coordinated precision. The Nemesis led the charge, its advanced targeting systems identifying the neural networks that coordinated the enemy fleet. Fire quantum torpedoes, Desai ordered. Full spread. The revolutionary weapons, developed in secret after the Battle of Proxima, streaked across space. Unlike conventional torpedoes, these didn't explode. Instead, they generated localized fields of quantum disruption, temporarily severing the subspace communications networks that united the enemy alliance. Within moments, the cohesion of the combined fleet collapsed. Vulgari ships lost contact with their Zorathi and Pyrrhonian allies. Coordinated attack patterns dissolved into chaos. Phase 2 complete, Malhotra announced. Enemy command structure compromised. On the main view screen, Grand Marshal Kivox appeared again, his exoskeleton now damaged, sparks flying from consoles behind him. What trickery is this? He demanded. How can you— This is why the Nemesis is feared, Marshal, Desai interrupted, calmly. Not for our weapons or our technology, but for our capacity to innovate, to find solutions where others see only overwhelming odds. She rose from her command chair, facing her adversary directly. You came here expecting a conventional battle. You studied our past victories and thought you understood our capabilities. But the Nemesis has never won by being predictable. Around them, the battle continued. The phantom ships, indistinguishable from reality, drew enemy fire while the actual Task Force Aegis vessels struck with surgical precision at vulnerable targets. I offer you one chance, Marshal, Desai continued. Withdraw your forces immediately. The alliance you've formed is already fracturing. Look at your tactical displays. The Pyrrhonians are retreating. The Zorathi formations are in disarray. Kivox's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of extreme agitation among his species. This cannot be happening. You are outnumbered. Numbers mean nothing without coordination, Desai replied. Without trust, your alliance was built on convenience, not conviction. It's falling apart before the battle has truly begun. As if to punctuate her words, a massive explosion blossomed at the edge of the battlefield. A Pyrrhonian cruiser, its engines overloading as it attempted to flee. Last chance, Marshal, Desai said quietly. Withdraw or face destruction. For several tense moments, Kivox stared at her through the view screen. Then, without another word, The transmission cut off. "They're retreating," Malhotra confirmed, unable to keep the wonder from his voice. "All enemy vessels are powering down weapons and assuming withdrawal vectors." A cheer erupted across the bridge, quickly silenced by Desai's raised hand. "Maintain battle stations," she ordered. "Monitor their retreat. I want confirmation when every last enemy vessel has left the system." Hours later, when the danger had truly passed, Admiral Desai stood alone in her ready room, gazing at the stars, beyond her viewport. The legend of the Nemesis had grown again today, a warship so dreaded that it could face a fleet of 70 enemy vessels and emerge victorious without destroying a single one. Commander Reeve entered after a respectful knock. "Admiral, Fleet Command is requesting a full report. Admiral Nakamura sends his personal congratulations." Desai nodded. "Tell him the true victory isn't what we accomplished today, but what we prevented. There will be no galactic war. Not this time. The Alliance is already disintegrating," Reeve confirmed. "The Pyronians are blaming the Vulgari for faulty intelligence. The Zorathi are withdrawing from shared territories." "And the legend grows," Desai murmured, almost to herself. "Is that not a good thing, Admiral? The reputation of the Nemesis just saved countless lives on both sides. Your strategy worked perfectly." Desai turned from the viewport, her scarred face illuminated by the distant light of Arcturus. "The most powerful weapon in our arsenal isn't our technology, Octavia. It's fear, the dread that makes our enemies yield without a fight." She traced the jagged scar on her face, a reminder of the Battle of Hyperion Gate, where she had lost her first crew, her first family among the stars. Today, that fear saved lives. Tomorrow, it may preserve peace. But we must never forget the responsibility that comes with wielding such a weapon. As the Nemesis maintained its vigilant watch over Arcturus Gateway, news of its victory spread across subspace communications networks. Throughout the galaxy, different species received the news with varying reactions: respect, fear, admiration, resentment. But none could deny the truth that had been demonstrated once again. So dreaded was this human warship that enemies yielded without a fight. And in that dread lay humanity's most powerful protection against a hostile universe, a legend forged in battle, tempered by wisdom, and wielded with terrible restraint.